Okay, this is Module 5, Lesson 6 homework. We were exploring how to use the area model to decompose fractions into equivalent fractions. The first problem is partway done for us. I covered up a lot of the extra work because they use a lot of parentheses and different ways of combining, and I think it's pretty confusing for the students, so I covered it up, but I'm not having them do that. I just want them to do the addition sentence and multiplication sentence with each one. So if we look, our original fraction here, we have 2/5. So that's our 2 shaded, 5 total. And then we wanted to split it up into tenths. So we drew one single line because we know if we are going from 5 to 10, we need to multiply by 2. And so that way, that gives us our 10 total parts in our whole. And now we have 4, which they did up here. We have the 4 total, we have the 4 parts of our whole of 10. So for the math that I want them to write out, we want to start with, they want to make sure they identify the 2/5 equals 4/10. Those are equivalent fractions. And then we're going to write the 2/5 equals our addition sentence. Each one of these blocks is worth 1/10 because we have 10 of them now. So we have 4 of them that are shaded, so we're going to add up our 4 1/10ths, and then that equals 4/10. So I really like for them to see the 2/5, your addition equals 4/10, so they can see it on both sides. Now your multiplication problem will be 2/5 equals, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1/10, because we're adding 1/10 4 times, so we can just also multiply the 1/10 by 4, and that also equals our 4/10. So that shows the equivalency. These next two, they didn't split it up for you, so we want to start by identifying our original fraction. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts in our whole, and we have 1, 2 that are shaded, okay? We now want to split it up into eighths. So to go from 4 to 8, we have to multiply by 2. So we're going to cut this in half. And so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. And if we want to look here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 shaded of our 8 total right here. Okay, so that's our shaded, and that's our total. Okay, so our equivalent fractions, we have 2/4 equals 4/8. 2/4 equals 4/8. The same amount of area is shaded in our whole part. We just have different parts, different amount of parts. Okay, so to do our addition sentence, we're going to start with 2/4 equals, and again, each one of these is worth 1/8. 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, and 1/8. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, so we're going to add up 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 equals 4/8. And then our multiplication sentence, we get 2/4 equals, we have 1, 2, 3, 4/8, so 4 times 1/8, which equals 4/8. And we're good. Okay. Our last one on the front, we want to look at our original fraction. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts that make up our whole. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are shaded. So now we want to split up 4/5 into 15ths. So to go from 5 to 15, we have to multiply by 3. So we need to break each one of these parts up into 3 parts. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And if we want to add up however many are shaded, looks like we have 12/15. So our equivalent fraction is 4/5 equals 12/15. So our addition sentence, we have 4/5 equals, and we have 12/15. We can split it up. Instead of writing 1/15 every time, we have 3/15 here, plus 3/15 there, plus 3/15 there, plus 3/15 there. Okay? And that equals 12/15. We add our numerators. The denominator stays the same because we still have the same amount of parts total, but we are adding up the different chunks that are actually shaded. So now our multiplication sentence, we have 4/5 equals. Now we want to split it up into our individual 1/12, or oops, my bad, 1/15, and we're multiplying that by 12 because we have 12 of them, and that equals 12/15. So on the back, they give us two sets of equivalent fractions, and we need to draw our new area models to show that they are equal. So we'll start with the original fraction right here, which is 2/3. So we're going to split that up into 2/3. And we need to shade that. We have 3 parts in our whole, so we have to shade the 2 parts, so 2. And now we need to go from 2/3 to 4/6. So we have to look at our denominator. To go from 3 to 6, we have to double it. So we're just going to cut this in half, like that. So we should have labeled that as 2/3. Okay, and now our new label here, we know we have 6 parts to our whole, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts that are shaded. Okay, so now we just need to show our addition sentence, because all we want is the sum. Oh, sum and products. We have to do addition and multiplication. So we have 2/3 equals 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 equals 4/6. And then our multiplication sentence is 2/3 equals, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1/6, because that's what we're adding up. And that's going to give us 4/6 as well. Okay. The second one, we're going to start with 4/5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to shade 4 of them. And now we have to look at our denominator. To go from fifths to tenths, we have to double it. So we're going to cut it in half because we're making 2 parts. So that's where we get the times by 2. So we identify our original fraction as 4/5, and now this one is 8/10 because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now our addition sentence equals 1/10. 1/10. That's 1/10. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. And that equals 8/10. Kind of ran out of room there. And then our multiplication sentence, we have 4/5 equals, we have 8 of those. So we have 8 1/10. And that equals 8/10. Okay. So for the last one, the kids can get a little creative. They get to come up with their own fraction and area model that they get to figure out for themselves. So draw an area model for a fraction with units of thirds, fourths, or fifths. All right. I'm going to do fourths. That's easy to cut in half and then cut in half. Okay. Step 2, shade in more than one fractional unit. So I'm going to shade in 3 of them. And then partition the area model again to find an equivalent fraction. So that's when we cut it in half. I'm going to do that twice, so we're breaking it up into thirds. So our original fraction here, since I had 3 shaded out of 4 total, we have 3/4, and that equals 9 over 12 total. Okay? And then that's it. They don't have to show any math for that. They're just breaking it up and showing it on the area model themselves and being creative. So that is Module 5, Lesson 6, working with the area model to decompose and find equivalent fractions.